Hey guys, Trekyards is back with another Trekyards Top 10. So, what's our topic this week, Samuel?
Top 10 alien races. Canon alien races.
And this one was a hard one, guys. There's a lot to choose from, and we had a difficult time figuring out what were our favorites. And I'm curious to find out what yours are, Samuel.
I've no idea what you could pick, but I gotta say it's fun because I didn't just want to pick the famous ones because some of the small ones are really worth thinking about. So a lot of trading through memory alpha to try and work out what are those ones that really left an impression that didn't, but that did at the time.
All right, so let's start with we're going to play back and forth this
Yep.
time. Okay.
Okay, so
My
you're
number five is the Andorians.
Okay.
Very cool warrior race. We see them in TOS, but I mean, not really.
Those
And
orcs, they are just
yeah, and it was interesting to learn about them in Enterprise. I really got a kick out of them. Plus, bloobs, blue boobs.
they were great in Enterprise. All right.
Yes, very warlike, and their conflict with the Vulcans I didn't know about, and it was fascinating. So that's why they're my number five. Samuel, what's
Interesting
yours?
choice. My number five is Species 8472. It is one of those CGI creatures that actually looks good. They're interesting, different, cool backstory, and we're able to defeat the Borg. Come on, these guys will always stick out as a Trek legend. I just think they're great. Design and culture and ships, great. Yeah.
But eventually they can just take on any form, so it's like, ugh,
But with injections, I mean, there's a whole thing about it, and
I know, but it's like, this, yeah, okay. All right,
well,
so my number four is the Klingons. Another warrior race. For some, I don't know. I like the warrior races for some reason. I'm not
there's
big
quite a
on
few of them.
war. I know. But I mean, it was interesting that Gene didn't want to have Klingons in TNG because he didn't want anything carrying over, so to speak. But we got Worf, and then eventually he became a major player, and we learned all about the Klingon culture, which was amazing. So interesting. They're kind of a cross between the samurais and the Vikings. So great armor, great weapons, and great stories. And yeah, that's all I have to
Interesting.
say.
Yeah, my number four are the Tholians. This was a hard one by Tholian number four. Hardly seen but very cool. Iconic ship, iconic race. They're a crystalline life form. How cool is that? And with their full appearance Enterprise, I've got to say, wow, what a cool look. Fantastic designed, and that web. Come on. Just, yeah. And of course, they starred in one of my favourite episodes, Into Mirror Darkly. So yeah, Tholians, come on.
Good choice. All right, so it's time for number three. Three. My number three are the Romulans,
Okay.
but more TOS Romulans. I'm not a big fan of the brow ridged Romulans. Why did this happen? I don't know. To differentiate them from
Progress.
Vulcans, but I know.
Evolution.
Anyway, so love the Romulan culture. The fact that they're basically based on the Roman society.
Well, they
It's
were sort of devolved a bit from that, but yeah.
Yeah, true. So just in Balance of Terror, I just loved everything about them. I thought, they're so mysterious and awesome. And then we get a little more sneak peek in the Enterprise incident. And then, of course, TNG, learn a little bit more. So that's why they're my number three.
So you
Plus
like,
cool ships.
yeah. So you like sneaky Vulcans, the equivalent.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that actually is a funny thing. My number three is the Vulcans. They're not the most dynamic, but they are the most iconic, or one of the most iconic. They have some of the best characters in Trek, and come on, just Spock himself has got to give the Vulcans a top five slot because he is just incredible. Their philosophy is interesting. Their ears are enough said, and it's always interesting when a Vulcan comes on board because they bring such a personality in lack of person. I don't know. They're fun. They work. Okay. Vulcans number three,
So our number threes are the same, basically, because they all came from the same species.
but mine are the originals.
Exactly. Number two, my number two is the Gorn. Now, as you all know, I play Starfleet Battles, so
So which Gorn? Is this the one from TOS or is this the one from Enterprise? Because they're very different. Or the one from JJ, sorry, the game. Don't forget about the game.
I'm getting there. I like all the Gorns, basically, even the ones from the game. The game I actually enjoyed. The game is something that you got a better peek at the Enterprise, and you get to fight the Gorns in the engineering, which is not a brewery. And so the Gorns in that game are pretty cool. The Gorn we saw in A Mirror Darkly was also, I think, a great evolution from the TOS aesthetic, but very interesting race and very cool ships and weapons as well. So that's why they are my number 2.
Although we never saw an actual ship in Star Trek.
Well, there's one in the remastered arena,
Mm.
which you see very briefly. But yeah, their ships are very neat in Starfleet battles and even Starfleet Command.
So which would you say was your favourite though? Because I know obviously the original TOS one, which is like a lizard man, then you've got a dinosaur beast, and then you've got in Tomorrow Darkly, and then in JJ you've got this big reptile, not so much dinosaur. Which would you say was your favourite iteration then?
Probably the one from Inamir Darkly, the kind of dinosaurish one.
Okay.
Well, yeah. The ones in the game are cool and a nice evolution, so I don't know.
Okay, cool. So my number 2 are the Hirogen, because they are badass, they are cool, they are a fierce race, and are absolutely a match for Voyager and her crew. Like, absolutely. I love their ships, I love their armour, I love their weapons, and boy, when you put all that together, they're one of the best aliens in Voyager. I'm so glad they put that extra budget to really give them that look, because they're just fantastic. You know, I always stood out to me as one of the few that just like, yes, I love them, and that is why they're my number 2.
So it's interesting hearing one from the Delta Quadrant. It's interesting that you didn't pick the what are they called? The first guys we meet.
Kazon.
The Kazon, yes.
No one would ever pick the Kazon.
I know. They need better hair products.
So what's your number 1 then, Stuart? Because I have no idea.
My number 1 is one you've already picked. The Tholians. I've been doing a lot of research on the Tholians as of late. And like I said, also they're in Starfleet battles. And they're a very interesting culture. Their hierarchy is very interesting. They're kind of like a hive mind, but not like the Borg. They have different castes and whatever. So we don't really see them much on screen, unfortunately.
3 times.
Which makes them very mysterious and interesting. And the more you learn about them, the more you learn to appreciate them. Plus, they're totally unique in the world of Star Trek as they live in such high temperatures and they're a crystalline entity. So it's interesting and amazing, cool ships that do really interesting things in the world of Trek. So
cool. And my number 1, I think this is funny. There's always some of these funny coincidences in our top 10s. My number 1 are the Klingons, and I'm pretty sure your number 4 was the Klingons.
Yeah.
So we had the 1 and 4 reversed. This is not we don't even know what we're doing. This is incredible. Anyway, Klingons, the most iconic, definitive. You see them evolve from TOS to TMP to TNG back to Enterprise. So much evolution. They've got the coolest ships. They've got, they've been both friend, foe, and come on, Worf, he got to date a Betazoid and a Trill, married a Trill. They do a lot. A couple are, and come on, the armour never goes out of fashion. They're just the most iconic Trek race. That's why they always come back, and they've got to be a number 1 for me.
An interesting story about them, just a side note real quick, in FASA. The reason they look human in TOS is because they were genetically engineered to look that way to infiltrate Federation space. They had Romulan-looking ones as well, but they never covered that in canon, so I had to put that up there.
Thank you. So what is your honorable mention?
My honorable mention are the Dominion and the Vorta, because they kind of go hand in
Vorta
hand.
specifically, then?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I love that they clone. They have different clones, numbered. And the Dominion are very interesting because of the Ketracel White. It's interesting that the Vorta use that to control them, using a drug basically to make sure that
that's
they do
the
it.
Jem'Hadar. I mean, we're just talking one single species here, so.
Well, yeah.
And my honorable mention is ironically the Breen. So DS9 as well. Cool race, awesome armor, and just fun guys to Breen right at the end of DS9. Wish they had more screen time, and you've always got to remember, folks, never turn your back on a Breen, even if they are just an honorable mention. And
they're the opposite of the Tholians because they live in cold.
Yeah.
And wear Princess Leia's bounty hunter outfit. But anyway.
Yes, absolutely.
That's it for our Trekyards top 10 on alien species in canon. I hope you learned a little bit because I tried to throw in some side canon knowledge, which is very interesting. And I agree with a lot of your list as well. And we kind of did match up on the one because the Vulcans are kind of the same thing.
I like that we had a few swap arounds. I would not have thought Andorian. They're sort of mostly an Enterprise, roughly, and you're not really an Enterprise guy. I'm kind of surprised. I'm pretty interesting on our lists.
Well, that's it, guys, for another Trekyards top 10. Always fun to learn what he has and what I have and our thoughts on it. So if you can subscribe to our Patreon to help us out, please do so. The link will be in the description below. Or
head on over. Of course, what is your top 10? What is your top 5 or split personality if you have 2 5s? Let us know in the comments below. You got to do that, guys. You want to know.
That's right. So see you next time.